Hello and welcome to another pre-launch edition of MA Action News. My guest today is a 3rd Dan black belt in Taekwondo and a 1st Dan in kickboxing. He regularly competes both locally and nationally, and he's a full-time professional martial arts instructor, and all before his 20th birthday. He's none other than our own budding journalist, Tom Vince. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Adrian. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So, start by telling me about the early days. You started at...
The early days, okay. I have to go take my memory all the way back now. So I started when I was 4. Started Taekwondo when I was 4. Of course, by my own choice. My dad didn't push me into it whatsoever, you know. Cool. Completely under my own understanding. So I started when I was 4 and ran around aimlessly for a few years in the class doing the odd bit, but sort of picked it up seriously around about the age of 8. And went on to do some black belt training. Took my junior black belt, which is what we in our style is almost a prequel to the full 1st Dan. So I took that when I was 10 years old, and I failed. Unfortunately, failed my first junior black belt grading.
And was that under your dad?
Yeah, that was under my dad. That's harshness. That is the best for you to tell you. I spat in his tea that night. But yeah, so failed my first one. But I like to feel it makes you better when you fail. If you have the right attitude, you go forwards again, and took it the 2nd time and passed, fortunately. And then from there, I got a bit more confident and started to do the odd competition every now and again. And my 1st Dan by the time I was 13, I think.
Fantastic. And by then, you presumably had really got the bug of yourself. And
oh yeah, well, living in a martial arts household, you don't really have a choice. You know, most people have a kitchen spoon sort of hanging on the wall. We had a 1st Dan, so a black belt or a pair of nunchucks on the living room wall all the time. So you do catch it. It's inevitable, I think. It's like a virus.
Absolutely. So when did you go on to study kickboxing as well?
I started kickboxing when I was 17, so quite late. But always found it to be more of a practical side to Taekwondo. I mean, I love Taekwondo. It's a fine art. It's very traditional and very pure, if you like. But something about kickboxing, perhaps it's the glamour side of it. Maybe it's my ego that just draws me to it. But I enjoy it. I think it's a nice change. It's a nice change to Taekwondo.
And were you competing in kickboxing straight away after you started training in that?
Yep, as soon as I started training in kickboxing, we got straight into it. As soon as I was 18, I did have my first full contact kickboxing bout against someone in a similar position to me, actually. The first guy I fought was a 2nd Dan black belt at the time from Wales, and we had a real scrap, let's put it like that, and it ended in a draw, which I think was probably a fair result, but you always want to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And how often did you used to compete in Taekwondo, and do you still compete in that?
Oh, I still compete in Taekwondo quite regularly, but I never really properly got into it until I was about 15 or 16 years old, and to go straight into the cadet section, and the nasty surprise in your first 2 tournaments when you come up against a few excellent fighters. I mean, must have fought the British champion a few times, and we had some good fights with him. He did come out on top, but it was close. It was good. Excellent learning curve, we'll put it like that.
And that's great. And before we actually went on air, you were telling me about a recent trip to Italy?
Yep. RichardVince.com, who sponsors our fight team, we took a team to Italy, and I think we did very well for our first international tournament. I mean, with several of my students picked up a lot of good medals, some bronze medals, some silver medals, and mostly experience. You know, you're going to get a lot of experience from any international tournament, so it was well worth going. I got a bronze in the semi-contact points, and I won my kickboxing one. Unfortunately, didn't get to fight for it, but you know, you take the good with the bad. I'm sure at some point it'll be reversed, and I'll get to fight, hopefully.
Absolutely. And going forward, then, what's the future for the purpose of your competitive career? Because you've recently done, I think we've actually got some footage of it, actually. You've recently done your first white-collar boxing fight, haven't you? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I went into boxing for a night, guest appearance, we'll call it. But it was mostly for ring experience more than anything. It's not a career choice for me. I'd much rather keep to the kickboxing side of things. But it was an excellent experience as far as getting used to being in the ring is concerned, controlling your adrenaline levels, and you know, getting used to everyone booing you and shouting "kill him," which tends to be what happens at boxing events, unfortunately.
Yeah, And were a lot of the competitors at that, were they also martial artists or were they more boxers?
I was the only person who'd studied anything other than boxing at the event. So you can quite imagine it had all the boxers over in one camp and me sort of sitting there like, I can imagine they're all going, look at Bruce Lee sitting in the corner. You know.
Was that an advantage or a handicap though? Because you presumably wanted to use your legs.
Well, I'm not going to lie. So a few opportunities in the fight where I thought, oh, lovely place, round kick or a turn heel kick to the head would do wonders here. But no, I made a decision to wear a pair of shorts, which meant I couldn't kick. Yeah. So I wore those and stopped thinking about it eventually. Not much else tends to go through your mind except for the fight when you're in there. But.
So obviously that's one of the real growth areas at the moment, white collar boxing. I mean,
it's really coming through.
What's your take on that?
I think it's wicked. I think it's a great idea. I mean, amateur boxing is, amateur boxing as itself is quite hard to get into. It's quite strict to who they let fight. Yeah. So white collar boxing is a great way for white collar people, the average Joe, to get in and have a go. You know,
basically bringing boxing back to the masses.
Yeah, it really is. It's an excellent idea, especially for boxing at the minute, because I feel it's taken a real dive with some of the more popular fighters perhaps not being willing to put their reputation on the line and really throw down against each other, such as Pacquiao and Mayweather and, well, the upcoming Hay-Klitschko fight, which has been budding for a long time. And this has really helped, I think, to bring boxing, again, back to the masses and make people really love the sport again.
Absolutely. What about MMA? Have you ever done any? I
have done some MMA. I've done a little MMA before. I liked MMA, actually. I'm not going to lie, but it's a tough sport. And Have
you fought in it?
I've never fought in it. There'd be no disillusions to anyone who wants to try it out there. It is tough. There is a lot to learn, and it is a hard sport.
Would you like to?
I'd love to have a go at it at some point in my life. I think it's an experience that I felt if I didn't do, I'd regret.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Now, what about your teaching career? I mean, it's fantastic. You're already a full-time instructor.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing that?
I've been assistant instructing since the age of 10 or 11, around that time. So I've been at it for a fair while. But it's a real passion, to be honest. I mean, there's so much you can get from training yourself and making yourself improve, but it's a real satisfaction to know that you've helped someone else to come up to a black belt or something like that. I've had students who started when they were 4 and, oh, blimey, I never thought I'd say this, but this dates me. About 9 or 10 years later on, they're now black belts. I mean, it's really strange to think, but...
It's when their kids start coming that you'll feel really old.
Oh, God. I'm not sure if I want that to happen. But,
so do you teach both Taekwondo and kickboxing?
Yep, I teach Taekwondo. I teach Taekwondo from the ages of 3 and up. 3 to 7 is one, and then 7 up to there, and then adults also. And kickboxing, we don't tend to let the youngsters start kickboxing because it's a little bit too hands-on, sparring orientated for them, we feel anyway.
And being honest, can you tell me which you prefer teaching?
What, kids or adults? Or?
Yeah. And also style.
I personally prefer teaching kids simply because I get to act like a bit of a muppet, and I get to jump around, and I get to do the whole, you know, act like a fool and make them laugh kind of thing. But I like teaching adults as well. You've got to have the technical, side along with the having fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. So have you had any of your students grade to downgrade yet?
Yes, several. Of one of my students in a satellite club over in near Diss in Norfolk. One of them recently got their first Dan a couple of years ago and then moved on to get their second Dan. So they're my currently highest graded student. So they're getting a bit close to me now. I'm getting a little worried. I'm going to have to start going a bit faster. So.
Absolutely. When did you get your third?
I got my third Dan in December of 2009. So a couple of years. But I'm due for my fourth Dan by the age of 22, so I've got a little while, I think.
And in the association you're a member of, is that an honorary grade for the results that you're getting for your students, or is that still an exam?
No, fourth Dan is a graded exam still, but after that it's awarded on your contribution to martial arts.
Absolutely,
so I'm going to have to start, you know, getting a bit more involved. I think I have to have the old bake sale down at the academy or something like that.
And now, of course, you're going into journalism as well in the martial arts front.
Well, of course. You know, fortunately, I've got this wonderful opportunity to do a little bit of journalism for MAaction.com.
Absolutely, looking forward to that.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, getting to talk to all the figureheads of the various associations.
Yeah, it's going to be exceptional. I mean, it feels a little strange to be sitting here. I've only had one interview so far, but it feels a little odd. It's going to be a really great ride. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait.
Absolutely, indeed. And so then, what about your favourite martial arts movie or martial arts related action movie?
Okay, favourite martial arts movie. My favourite martial arts movie. I'm really partial to Jackie Chan in all of his films because I think he puts such a fantastic edge on his martial arts. It's not just a fight scene, it's entertainment, and he's so creative with everything he uses. He uses the environment in ways that most other martial artists wouldn't even think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure all of you guys have seen Rush Hour. That's a fantastic favourite film of mine. It's excellent.
Film.
But Bruce Lee, you can't even forget Bruce Lee. He's the one who's been the figurehead of martial arts movies.
Yeah.
I mean, he's brought them through. He has to be the pioneer.
Absolutely. What about Jean-Claude?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He's got a particular style,
He has got a particular style.
You either love him or hate him, I think, really.
I'm not going to say either one, especially now I'm on TV, but the fact my reluctance to say it probably states that I'm not too much of a fan of his. He is a fantastic martial artist, but I'm not so much a fan of his acting.
Okay. Also, I mean, you're still very young. Martial arts obviously plays a very important part of your life. What else do you like to do?
To be honest, martial arts takes up an awful lot of my life. I teach every night, and during the day I'm doing a lot of MAaction.com stuff, but I love all sports, to be honest. At any opportunity to do any sport, I'm there. I love to play tennis, I love to play rugby, I love to play football. Doesn't mean I'm good at it, but I love to play football. Basketball is a real passion of mine. I'd love to be able to have a bit more time to do that. Of course, you've got to go to the gym as well. You've got to keep yourself in trim you've got to practice what you preach, haven't you? If you're teaching, you can't stand at the front of a class and say 50 push-ups and not be able to do them yourself, unfortunately. No,
of course not. But again, before we came on air, you were sharing some dieting tips with me. Do you want to pass one of them on to our viewers? Your little
would you perhaps be referring to the fast food I had for lunch?
Oh, no, I wasn't actually. I was referring to your grading speciality.
Ah, well, in fact, I've just let another...
students wish to aspire to.
I've now let another poor habit slip. Well, we're on our grading panels. I feel it's incentive for the students that we can sit there with a pack of chocolate biscuits and, pick at them every now and again, and they can think, well, when I'm a black belt, I can do this. It's real incentive to go the distance, if you like.
So how do you make up for that in the gym?
Oh, I just make myself feel really bad. Well, actually, everyone else makes me feel bad. All the students would come up after and said, how can you do that to us? We're working hard and you're eating chocolate biscuits. So I feel guilty. I have to get in the gym and hit the treadmill for a few minutes.
So there we have it. You can have a chocolate biscuit once you've passed your grading.
And only then.
And only then. OK, well, that's fantastic. So any particular last bit of what you're looking forward to in the future, your future of martial arts and your career?
The MAaction.com launch, of course, is going to be a fantastic event.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're looking forward to that.
We've got Dave O'Donnell coming down, who's
That's
amazing.
Really, really exciting, isn't it?
I can't wait to interview Dave O'Donnell, have a few words with him. I mean, pass on some of his expertise to me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He is the one in the MMA scene as far as the public's concerned, even though he's not actually a competitor anymore.
Maybe some of his explosive personality will rub off, and I'll go jumping around the newsroom. You never know.
You never know, indeed.
You never know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's got some excellent fights as well. I mean, lined up. We've got a few championship fights and hopefully some very entertaining demonstration martial arts as well. Yeah,
indeed. Looking forward to it. Well, thank you very much for coming and talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
And so don't forget, our launch event itself is on May the 21st. We'll be broadcasting that live. And straight afterwards, we'll be getting on with plenty more action and, of course, this regular news programme, which will bring you roundups of the action and more interviews, commentary, celebrities, etc. So keep it here, keep it with MA Action. Thanks for watching and see you very soon.